How you doing out there? I'm Lindsay, and this is Knowledge Uprising. Tonight, I will be presenting to you the panel of knowledge number 5. And tonight, we have three panelists that are amazing. Guys, introduce yourselves.
All right, we got Stephen Harris here.
Peace, peace. Ryan here.
Halito, Aboriginal power in the building. Peace.
Alito, brother, Alito. So, Abor- okay, can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah, I
Aboriginal.
can hear you.
Elaborate a little bit more about Alito, but the people out there don't know what it is, and explain to them what it means to be indigenous.
Uh, just real quick, Halito is a greeting in Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Cherokee Native language. Uh, it was also used by the English later on as hey, hi, then later on to hello, uh, for a form of greeting, and also adopted by the Algonquin as well.
So, elaborate on a little bit more about what it is to be indigenous and why you consider yourself to be indigenous.
Well, I know myself to be indigenous through historical traditions and lineage and through my genealogy. I've always known who I was, even though I went through a stage where I was wanting to research outside of that due to different circumstances, whether it was the pro-black movement or the
Yeah,
Black Panther Party
yeah,
or the Moors, whatever the case may be. But I
yeah.
did dive into the Afrocentric information,
So, so,
beautiful
so
cultures.
I hate to pause you and digress from where you're progressing and you're believing about, but for the people that's wondering, uh, when you said that indigenous and elaborate just a little more, brother.
Indigenous, like I said, indigenous, for instance, the first inhabitants of the landmass of Africa or any particular land, continent for that well matter, will be indigenous. So,
Okay, okay, thank you, brother. So now, when you said your genealogy, for the people out there that don't know what genealogy is, explain it to them. So many words, if you can.
there's different forms of genealogy that you can do. They now got a more recent form of doing it, which is DNA genealogy or ancestral genealogy, but genealogy is just doing the research of tracking down your ancestors and family members that came before you through your mother's and your father lineage.
Okay, so when you're saying through the lineage, does that mean through the bloodline and the culture or the land which you could have came from?
Directly through the bloodline. Yes, directly through the bloodline.
Okay, okay. So through your research of genealogy, what are your findings?
Well, for instance, for my mother's side, I've done research and we tracked back down to 1783. 1783. Uh, and it's still in Tennessee. I've tracked down to Tennessee. Pretty much the same city that I live in now. It wasn't the same name that it is now. Uh, a lot of historical
Okay, what happened? What happened? Did, did he dissipate?
Oh, yeah, I think he might have left or
Yeah, I think.
something.
Oh,
He
there
popped
he
back
is. There
up.
he
Yeah,
is.
he's coming
He's
back.
coming back in. He's coming back in.
kicked me out for some reason. I don't know what happened. It's all good. I forgot where I was.
Yeah, you were talking about from 1783. I guess you went back to your parents and it showed you that it went back that far. I think you mentioned Tennessee, but it was called something else before Tennessee.
Yes, it was actually it was not called Tennessee. It was actually part of the Virginia colonies. So it was just another east state of part separate from Virginia. It was considered Virginia. In other words, it was all continuous land at that point in time. At that point in time of 1783, of historical documents by the National Archive, and also the archival records of Western District of Tennessee and Eastern District of Tennessee, that no European settlers had not touched down in Tennessee until 1786. And I got a book that maybe you guys can pick up. It's called Natural Aboriginal History of Tennessee, and it talks particularly about the Chickasaw, the Oneida, and the Holston and the Chickamauga Indians, and that's where my family tribe name come from. My name is on the rolls. We lived on Chickasaw and Chickamauga land. Uh, some of my great uncles had signed the Holston treaties, which was lawfully uh, not operated correctly, and it was misused and pretty much not and void, and they double crossed it, my ancestors, which ultimately led into the Urban Renewal Act, or what we better known as the Indian Removal Act, which led to one of the first projects in my community, which was Lonsdale, which is in Knoxville, Tennessee. Uh, Ultimately, the people that inhabited it was some of the first people.
I hate to cut you short, but you said the Indian Removal Act. Could you
Yeah,
elaborate a little bit more about that, brother?
the Indian Removal Act. That's what
Yeah.
it's better known as, but it's called the Renewal Act, which
And so,
was
what was the purposes of this act?
they was the government colonizers that came in had set acts and laws on
Yeah,
particular land due to studious and geologist reasons, due to safety reasons. They made up different reasons why, which forced the people off of their land. So
yeah.
I have just
And
a
so,
couple quick questions.
what were
Oh, go
some of the
ahead.
main reasons they were shut off that land, according to that? I mean,
for
because
one,
if they said it was cut off for reasons, we would like to know those reasons, right?
yes, it was various different reasons. Pretty much the waterways. We got a lot of big creeks. We got the Holston River, which leads directly into the Tennessee River. And the Tennessee
Yeah,
River obviously leads into the Mississippi. It was a main traffic way. They
yeah,
wanted some of the hilly areas and the mountain areas that was rich in fertile land, which they still growing crop there now to this day. So
Uh,
for various different reasons.
I just had a couple quick questions because I don't know a whole lot about the Aboriginal or Indigenous movement, or if I don't even know if you call it a movement or however you want to describe it. The first thing, because you mentioned back in 1783, like where do you think your ancestors were prior to the 1700s?
I believe that my ancestors uh possibly could have migrated from the south, somewhere from the south. Uh in particular, I'm not for sure. I want to say maybe the Georgia region, or maybe even southern as far as Mexico.
Right now, do most people that are indigenous do they think that they didn't come from Africa, but that they were already here in the States? Is that how that
Abs-
works?
Absolutely. We really do not subscribe. I speak for me, and I do not speak for all Aborigines. But I deal with a particular group of people. We don't subscribe in the out of Africa theory.
Okay.
Uh, I don't think that no geneticist, no universal humanity migrated graph the researchers subscribe to the out of Africa theory uh, due to the lack of evidence to support it. It actually kind of debunks itself because you find more and more older bones and older structures in various places outside of Africa. And as of 1999, the Into Africa theory had become one of the leading theories in the scientific community.
Mind, they created the out of Africa theory.
I couldn't hear what you said. If you don't mind repeating that, brother.
If you don't mind alleviating, what gave you the thought to not believe in the out of Africa theory? What made you question that?
Well, for instance, the out of Africa theory deals with life beginning in Africa.
Yeah.
All life, human life.
That's why they say they found the oldest bones. What was it, Lucy or somebody?
Yeah, that's what I've heard too, that the oldest bones were found in Africa.
Yeah. Oldest bones was found in Africa.
Right. Which Lucy DNA genetics is only 322 years old, 322,000 years old, even though the bones was dated older. Yet Walter Perry's DNA is older than any hominid on the list and beyond the list. It's 380,000.
So how was that?
I don't know. It's actually quite remarkable according to the scientific community.
Right, because I've heard theories too in regards to the indigenous thing that some I guess Indians or Native Americans or whatever you want to, however you want to, were enslaved black people
created.
It was definitely not Native Americans. Well, we must be clear, and we must be very, very honest with history. People on every continent was enslaving anybody that was in opposition into what was authority on the land. So you had the Barbary Coast Wars, and then in Africa, and then you got the 711 AD attack with Mauritania with the El Moravids. You got the Native Americans in Quetzalcoatl, roughly around the Inca time period, and
for black righteous folks, what up? How you doing?
I'm sorry, I went to sleep. I just woke up because my dog wants me to take her out. How you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
Peace.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody, this is Black for Righteous Folks home. What's up? How you doing out there?
I'm better after taking a little nap. How you doing? What you got on your face? What's going on?
Man, I don't know. I said I'm gonna put on a mask tonight. I feel like putting on a mask because I'll put on a mask.
Oh shit!
I'll put on a mask. It's a black mask tonight. I got on my leather jacket. I ain't playing.
He's a black.
Don't make me pull out my pen.
Who you taking out with that? Who you taking out? Who you ain't taking out? You crazy though. You look like a cartoon character. But hey, it's better to look that way than be that way, you know?
Yeah. Real shit.
Okay. Hey, I just have one other question real quick then for the brother. So because I've heard stories that in regards to people of African descent or blacks that consider themselves indigenous were slaves of Indians that were already there, or maybe because they were slaves, or maybe they might have married into the family, and that's why they feel that they got the rights and stuff. What's your feeling about that?
Oh, I want to talk about that too. I'm gonna let him go.
Well, yeah, the story just get twisted a little bit. If you ever heard of the Boma Park Mirrors, you ever heard of those? It's some of the oldest Inca writings and stories that's ever been seen. They found in some of the pyramids in Peru, and also in South America, I believe Argentina. Mm-hmm. Well, with all these Mendoza Codex, it shows heavy melanated people with beards. You can tell the distinguishing between what you would call a black person and what you would call a Eurasian or a typical Mexican, for the lack of argument. So you see these heavy melanated people grabbing them up by the hair, groping them, what you call sacking the enemy, uh, in various different photographs and pictures that they display, showing the people who ran the land in opposition to the people who was entering the land for the first time, and it shows them coming on boats as well. So yeah, we sure did. And it also shows us tying them, what we would call tying them behind the back, tying them and gagging them, not gagging them, but
Wow.
from feet to hands, right? And not only that, we would take a oyster paint, some blue oyster paint that has a very strong dye that will stain your clothes or skin for a long time, and we will strip the invader naked and put a blue ring around them, similar to what you see done in prison clothes with the black and white. And that's all displayed on the Mendoza codexes.
Now, I want to know from the brother here, because you said Native American. Now, have you ever run into anyone that's preferred to be called a Native American in the past because of their generation of history, or have you ever come across someone that didn't mind saying the word Indian?
Well, Native American is the people that you think are Indians today. These are the people that's typically on reservations out West Coast. These people are pretty much people that came from other land masses, such as the European and various African groups that has came over here. They're just another group that came over here as well. As a matter of fact, their scientists support the Bering Strait story, which talks about them coming over here through a land bridge throughout Canada and Russia. So Native Americans would not be the correct term for the indigenous people here. It would be Aboriginal or Aborigines.
Okay.
That's interesting. So where do you think people, because I always thought of life as being created in Africa. So if black folk or people of color or whatever didn't just come from Africa, you're saying that they were already here in the Americas or in the United States anyway, not including like Mexico or Canada or any of these other places, right?
Yeah, I'm saying north, south, and central. When I say America, me in my mind, I will clarify for you brothers. When I say America, I'm including from Canada all the way down to Brazil,
all of North America,
South America,
a whole North American continent,
the whole America continent, right? Okay. From north to south, right?
Because see, the way I always thought it, like I thought everybody was Afro centric, Afro descent, and were brought over as slaves. So you might have had some in Belize, maybe some in Brazil, some in the States, some in Jamaica or Haiti or wherever. I just thought they were, as they were, we were getting sold off. We just went to different places, and so my understanding was that the natives that were here at the time also had slaves, and through marriage and slavery, those rights that we have, like you said, when you were starting back to 1783, I'm thinking that maybe it was possible that your people might have been part of a group that got together with some of these natives or indigenous people, and that's how you came about, or through marriage or what have you. But you're saying that's not the case, like because before 1783, you're thinking that you came from down south from somewhere else.
Well, what I'm saying is, before 1783, it couldn't have been blacks mixing in with other Indians because, like I said, at this time, no European settlers had touched down, and according to the transatlantic story, the European settlers is who brought the African. So if European settlers didn't touch down in Tennessee, then Africans did not touch down in Tennessee.
See, because I'm thinking about, like, in 1492 when Columbus came and he killed a whole bunch of natives. Like if they would have brought slaves over, if they would have just
You said
eventually migrated down.
you said he killed a whole bunch of natives. Can you
I mean,
clarify that?
I'm thinking that he killed some. When he didn't Columbus kill some? Like when he came
No,
here, I thought he killed some people.
no, but what he did was he took 1,500 uh of them back to Europe, and when they got there, they called them blackamoors, and you see the depictions.
But then some of that 1,500 not survive on the way back over there.
Excuse me.
Didn't
Yeah,
some of that
I'm sure.
1,500 not survive on the way back
Yeah,
over to
I'm
Europe
pretty sure some
because
of them.
of disease at sea?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure some of them didn't survive, but he took 1,500 from off the shores. Whether they made it to the next one,
Right.
whether all of them made it, is not really clear. But what is clear is
Right.
the depiction of what he called these people. He called them, which is a Spanish word, and he also called them Negro. Negro.
Right. That's what
Negro is a
yeah,
Spanish
right.
word for black.
Right. Right.
Now, what I'm saying is when you see Native Americans, or when you see what you think is Native American, would you consider these people Negro or Swarthy? No. And we know that the number one thing when Christopher Columbus wanted to do when he came over here, it's in his laws, was inseminate the people and colonize them and get them to convert to
Okay, brother.
Christianity.
Okay, brother. We getting deep in the past right now. So I'm gonna go and ask you this. What does it mean to be indigenous right now in the time you're living in, as in 2019? What does it mean to be indigenous? And how do you feel? And how does it inspire you to want to know more about your culture?
Right, and that's a beautiful question. I appreciate you asking that question.
Always, brother. Come on
That's
now.
why my name is Aboriginal Power. Because being Aboriginal on this land is power. If you ever heard of treaties only consist of one group of people, right? That's the Indians, the indigenous people of this land. And we all know that the U.S. Constitution was formed by the people, the indigenous people of this land. And the preambles that tell you was written for the people and by the people. And then it goes into detailing and telling you exactly who these people was, which was people who was residents or non-residents, right? So what it means to be Aboriginal is apply and have control of your land and truly have freedom. In order to do that, go ahead.
Oh, so what do you think? So who are these people now? Like when you see like these Cherokees, or even like the people from Mexico or whatever that got mixed with the Spanish because they got conquered. What type of people were they then? Do you think like that they call Indians now,
Right,
or Native
well,
Americans now, and these other ones?
the term Cherokee means mixed blood. So by the time you hear in Cherokee and you even seeing photographs of Cherokee, the indigenous people had already been disseminated into European ways. As a matter of fact, they had already took on European names such as Johnson, Roberts, Jones, Smith, so forth and so on. Yeah.
Cool. Now I have another indigenous sister in the building. Shauna, how you doing out there, Shauna?
Good. About to roll me one as I listen.
Hey. So while you rolling one, if you don't mind, alleviate to the folks what it means to be indigenous.
Pro American, black. That's it. I don't really care if it's actually blood relatedly true. I don't care how we get tied into the notion of believing in ourselves, helping ourselves, caring about ourselves, whatever way we need to do to get there. That's all I care about. But I do believe that we're not similar to African. Just in my heart, I don't believe the hype that my whole family's from Africa. I don't believe in that.
I can agree with you on that. So what separates us melanated, copper-colored Africans from no, I can't call us Africans, but
No, what separates us is our experiences.
You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
Our experiences
the
separate
word came
us.
out wrong. Don't y'all?
Mm-hmm. Our experience is not the same, and our goal is not the same, and the end game is not the same. But we're being played with right now with Dr. Bombay and Philip Advice, whatever guy, and all these other Jekylls talking about Africa.
What do you think about the Zaza Ali situation? I haven't really heard too much.
She's a fraud prostitute. That's what she is.
Yeah, I'm not hip to her. Tell me exactly who she is. I just know the name, but I know nothing about this person.
All I've known is since I've been on YouTube that she is a guru, a supposed guru of like bettering your spirituality, coming within, being like kind of a nature boy, but a clean version, yoga version, a biracial version of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she comes with all this talk of bettering yourself, enlightening yourself, and coming to peace and coming into being a feminine energy that's positive and all this other type of talk. But what she did was she hustled a lot of Black women trying to rub elbows against her, which doesn't do anything for us as Americans. But looking at her, I guess, gave them the inspiration to pay money. And they went and spent so much money in advance to try to meet up with her, I guess, months later. And she knew in advance that this retreat or whatever resort, whatever they were supposed to do, was not going to happen because she didn't pay her portion of keeping the place together for these people to come. Yeah. And she knew 30 days in advance that she wasn't going to do it. But what made it fraudulent is the fact that once she knew she wasn't going to do it, she went on and pretended as if she still was. And she pretended with these women to go ahead and still pay their spa stuff that they were going to do, all this other talk of how they're going to be Zen-like and all that. Yeah. Still pay money towards the trips, still pay money towards all this planning. And she knew that it wasn't going to go down. So she was trying to drip dry all the sisters in her pocket. And
I hate to cut you off, but what you think about Bro Polite?
The same thing, the same difference. I just think that Brother Polite is the man of words of the same thing that she does, but she, unfortunately, is propped up by a lot of Negro dudes who are lusting after her light ass, and they're thinking that's the reason for saving her. But it's about principle, it's about your integrity, it's about your word, and she didn't keep it. And for her to add to the insult of saying that we are expendable, like letting it be known that she could live without us and she don't really need us type of talk. Yeah. You know what I mean? If people don't rise up and say to hell with people treating them like any kind of way, then I guess they love to be treated any kind of way. So I would suggest that people just fucking stop promoting these wannabe gods, these people that claim to have all this knowledge of self, and get over whatever and love yourself and don't follow behind somebody's words because it's not helping.
Well, see, I believe I don't believe in Jesus Christ, but I do believe that I am God, just as I believe in you all are God.
I think we're many gods, but I don't think we're God. You can't make my leg.
I didn't say the Creator. I didn't say the Most High.
Yeah,
I believe that you're a God, just like I am God, like on this plane of existence.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're co-signers for what we accept, I guess. But I would just say that I don't want to liken myself to believing I am a god or anything. That's just too.
Why wouldn't you have a proclamation about all, and then in that you're rationalizing that you see everything is what it is, and it's because what it is.
Yeah, your phone was breaking up.
My phone was breaking. Hello.
Yeah, I heard a little bit I heard a little bit what you were saying. You said it is what it is. That's all I caught.
Oh man, I was saying you should make the strongest proclamation about who you are, But like I said, I ain't knocking anybody's belief system because I don't want to alter that and put you in a realm of reality to where you will be in confusion. But everybody has their own belief. But like you said, if you say you're something, you got to understand why you are that. And if you say you are that, you got to be able to alleviate people and tell them why you are that, right?
All I'm saying is words is not work. You know, we all can talk, but can we back up what we're talking about? And that's the problem that we have. We like to hear the sweet little words coming out of people's pretty little mouths, but we don't need them to do anything that matches what they say. And that's why we keep getting played. And that's why we can't do a damn thing for ourselves, because we're still propping up one person at a time as our master, as our idols. And that's why we keep being played like we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys want to comment off that?
I agree.
Yeah, I also agree. Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with the gal. Just looking at some pictures of her real quick, and it seemed like there's a whole lot.
Shauna's a cool person, man. Shauna, if you don't mind, would you like to read Doomsday Party or one of your poems that you have located?
I don't know where it is right now because I cleaned my room and I kind of like put it up, so it might take me a minute to find it. So if you give me like a little while to look for, I will. But I'll have to smoke and I'll come right back and look for it. But yeah, I'll look for it. Give me like 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay, Shauna's gonna be right back.
Okay,
right back with a poem.
Build off what Shauna said.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like there's a lot of interesting things going on in this so-called conscious movement community, whatever you want to call it.
The black country.
Yeah, and it seems like I'm a big fan of people following themselves. You know what I mean? It's always good. It's definitely good to network with people and do things, but it seems like a lot of these cats are getting, one scam after another from everybody in the hood. They're taking advantage of everybody.
Going from one person to the next.
Yeah.
Correct, and that's why I feel like this movement is a true movement, because it really comes from the spirit, and it's a story that nobody's never told.
So when you say this movement is a true movement, you're referring to what movement, brother?
Well, it's what they call the movement. It's really just a lifestyle, and it's going to be a continuous way of life that has to be.
Yeah,
and it's only coming into your proper position of knowing who you are. So, it's only right for us to do the research. And that's why it's so prominent in this story, kind of rubs people maybe the wrong way.
So what?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was going to say that it seems like the way history's been so tampered with, people don't really know a whole lot of stuff. But I did just join the other day when we were on a panel last time. A guy named Takara was on the line, and he mentioned Tribe Up. So I joined. I signed up for Tribe Up. I really don't know a whole lot about it yet. I just set up a profile last week and then haven't been on it since. But what do you think about the Tribe Up? Are you on that on Tribe Up?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, it's just man. That's what it is. It's another alternative to get the information across, and and that's pretty much the slogan for the community, which means linking with a brother that's like-minded, that's willing to take the action and the necessary steps to put you in your right position. If you want to reclassify yourself properly up under your correct identity, if you want to create your trust, if you want to then ultimately create your government, or maybe go into a form of government that's already situated, that's the route you need to go, so you can be fully protected while operating throughout the United States.
It's just funny because I hear so many different theories of how we got here. Either we were the original Hebrew Israelites, we're the original Jews, or we're natives stories, or we're brought from Africa. There's so many different ones.
Yeah, and these stories been around since the 1920s. As roughly, matter of fact, all the stories you just named, from the Moors, from the Hebrews, from the natives, this stories all popped up in the early 1920s. Uh, but it kind of was a watered down version. But everything happens for a reason. If you believe in light spectrums and information reaching people, it takes time, and maybe the time is being now because we ain't never been at a time period where so much information is privy to us. So, I believe, for me doing my research, I done brought a lot of stuff to the table that probably a lot of people had never known, period. Like, people stand with the Pan African movement, which, I respect the brothers and what they do. The primordial heights of the Pan African movement is Kemet. The reason they stand with Kemet is because of the pyramids, the structure, the science, the gold, and the dating of the pyramids. Well, for somebody to go out and beyond and say, well, we got gold here, we got science here, and just to go along with it, we got pyramids that predates those. We got pyramids that's just as big as those. We got more pyramids. So if
So,
pyramids,
what's your thoughts on the African pyramids
huh?
that's located in Egypt? So, what's your thoughts on the African pyramids that are located in Egypt?
Well, my theory might be a little different than what a lot of people do. I usually try to deal with data.
Oh, let's hear it,
I
brother.
want I'm not gonna say that it's fake or nothing like that, which I've heard that around. Uh, I believe that first off, let me just give you a premises because I'm gonna have to lead into it if you don't mind. Uh,
Go ahead, do your thing.
Africa has roughly about 300 pyramids in the whole continent. According to the Americas, which I'm meaning from Canada all the way down to South America, has roughly over 100,000 pyramids. Okay, uh, so if someone who created the science of pyramids would have obviously, this is my opinion, would have implemented it more times and would have did it on a larger scale, right? And would have had them older as well. Somebody who created them would have had older pyramids. I mean, that's just common sense. So when you look at pyramids in Egypt, we can deal with the oldest ones in Khufu, right? They're dated at 2600 BCE. We got some that's roughly dated at 32. They only did one
So,
pyramid.
so,
Is
so, what you saying? These dates
I'm
are
not saying they're
referenced.
totally accurate, but we're
So,
dealing
yeah,
with
yeah, I get what you're saying, but saying these dates are in reference to what? When they were supposedly done before this or after that? Like, when you say
well
these dates,
2000 BCE will be roughly around 4600 years ago, right? You take 26 added on to the 2000, what year 2000, whatever we in, onto that, right? 2600, right? A little bit over 4600 years, excuse me. Take 2000 added to a little bit over 3 and you got a little bit over 5000 years, right? That's how you do that, and that's what it's in reference to. uh the reason I say that to say this is, if the pyramids was if the science of building pyramids was created in Africa, why leave out of Africa to implement it only to go back to implement small proportions? So what I'm saying is, and what I'm not saying is what geneticists is saying, right? And and anthropologists is saying is that there was a group of Americans that's antediluvian, right? due to due to migration, they can prove this. This is why Africa has the highest form of diversity. Why? Due to a population bottleneck. And a poly in the after effect of a population bottleneck is a genetic bottleneck. What happens with a genetic bottleneck? It gives you high risk for mutations. That's when you start seeing the white person gene pop up and various different genes pop up.
So basically, when you say bottleneck, you just got a bunch of different ethnic groups
Well,
from different cultures mixing with each other in Africa to make what we know is now as Africans.
right. Well,
Sense.
well,
With
what
the
I'm
mixed
saying is,
Europeans.
what I'm saying is,
I'm trying to understand, brother.
okay. What I'm saying is,
Because when you say the bottle cap, elaborate a little bit more because this is my
I,
first time hearing it.
I'm elaborate a little bit. If you go through some of the earliest depictions, which I gave y'all the Mendoza codexes, and I can give you the NX Tel Morrison codexes, which is known for the phenotype and variations of indigenous people that ran this land. You had lights that kind of looked like your grandma, that was real kind of light skinned. You had one that looked like maybe your dark uncle, and it was various different phenotypes. So, and what genetics is saying is America at one point had the highest diversity. This is what genetics can prove through the Walter Perry DNA, uh, which now the highest diversity in country is Africa. They said the only reason that is due to a population bottleneck.
I'm back whenever you guys want me to do the poem.
Mm.
So if it's any questions.
Yeah. The knowledge freeze up?
Huh?
I was just saying if knowledge froze.
Oh.
I was just gonna ask one more question. Like, so I know you did the DNA test, or your what made you is it that what how you came to the conclusion of the indigenous thing, or did you look at all other theories prior to that?
Well, I did not do a DNA test actually. I actually don't even subscribe to the DNA test in particular. I'd rather do it through paperwork, family birth records, historical church records, which most Black Americans, for the lack of argument, families used to store a lot of their family records in the church, and which would be usually your family church is what they would call your family church. So that's really the best way, and then go down to your city council building and your city records building, and then go on from there, man. You know.
I think Knowledge Uprising left for a second.
Yeah, he'll pop back on because we definitely want to check out that poem.
You guys want me to do it or wait for him to come back? He's already heard it, but I can wait a little longer if he needs to hear it again himself. That's okay. You guys keep talking, but hey, I don't know who's all on the panel. I didn't really get everybody's name. Can I know who you guys are?
Once again, this is Stephen Harris. I'm trying to think. I might have been on a panel with you before a few weeks ago. I think we were on a panel together.
Maybe. Whose panel? I don't know. I've been on a few. It
was Knowledges. I think you might. It might have been me, you, and another cat. A cat down from LA.
I think somebody from Canada, right?
Was there somebody? There was somebody from Canada too. I think.
Toronto. And the other guy, Aaron Collins. That's right. That's right. Oh, okay. I'm real bad with names. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but, Steven. Yeah, you had my avatar on last time around. That's why. I probably didn't recognize.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So this 4 Black Righteous folks. I been doing more talking on my channel. Just to try to weigh in on a different perspective, because I'm tired of everybody talking the same way. You know what I mean? I'm tired of everybody agreeing with everybody. That shit is getting me out of is making me crazy. So I want to be original and stick for what I believe is correct and talking about and talking and being like. So that's all I can say.
Right. It's really a way of life. It's not just about speaking. It's about
Yeah.
literally acting and really indulging into your culture. Even though some shit is pretty much embedded into your DNA, so you naturally still indulge into certain traditions and customs that was part of maybe your ancestry's
Mhm.
culture.
What's
So
your name? I didn't get your name.
this is Aboriginal Power. Peace. Halito.
Did I meet you before? Halito. I'm originally from Toledo a long time ago, rather. Not a long time, but years ago. Toledo, Ohio. That sounds like Toledo.
Yeah, that's the indigenous name too. So you should do some research on it.
Wait a minute,
Oh.
Ryan, where are you from again?
Peace to the sister here. I'm Ryan. I'm from Kansas, unfortunately.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you
said
didn't make it.
unfortunately.
You didn't
Yeah,
make it
what-
sound good. That's for
Yeah, he
damn
said
sure.
unfortunately.
You made it
Wait a minute.
sound really dreadful.
Wait a minute, Kansas City, Kansas, or Missouri?
No, I'm from the state of Kansas.
Okay, I've been there. I used to live in
It's gotta
Denver,
be.
Colorado.
It's
So I
got to
drove
be
to
better
Kansas
than
once.
that.
No,
It can't be that bad.
dude. No, I'm done with this four seasonal nonsense. Right now, we got that cold front. You know, we on that winter and stuff, and I ain't down for that. I like.
Oh, I'm in California, but you guys don't get no snow, do you?
Oh yeah, we get snow. We just got done with
I'm
some.
gonna be right back.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I don't like snow, so I don't miss Ohio for that part of it.
Yeah, like see, we just got like a big pile of snow, and we still have a little bit here on the ground. I'm just like, man,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, like I hate snow.
Well, it don't last what 2-3 months only.
No, it can go longer than that. It just all depends on who wants to pee in Mother Nature's cereal bowl and make her mad and make it like snow and stuff here.
Okay, is there a lot of black people in Kansas?
Oh yeah. Like we have like, and it all depends on like where you go though too, and like what town, what city you're at. Like
Mhm.
the town I'm in, it's a little country bumpkin little town right now. Yeah, I'm in that little country bumpkin nonsense. I hate it. I want my city
Oh.
back.
You better enjoy the fresh air while you can. If you come back to the city, you're gonna be withering up like most of us are. You know, I want to go in the country and come visit the city. I'm tired of being in the city.
Oh, see,